A Pakistani doctor who helped us find Osama bin Laden, an effort now underway to strip Pakistan of all foreign aid unless the doctor is released immediately. Pakistan receives more than $2 billion from the U.S. this year alone. And my next guest is a senator behind the effort to cut off Pakistani aid. Rand Paul out of Kentucky, Republican member of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. And Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
Why are you leading this charge?
Well, I have a lot of sympathy for this doctor. I'm about the same age, and I can just imagine the courage it must have taken to help us get bin Laden. Bin Laden was one of the worst mass murderers in our history, and I think he deserves some support. In fact, we had offered a $25 million reward, and I think we need to negotiate from a position of strength. I don't think the administration is standing up to Pakistan, giving them $1 billion and saying, please let him go, instead of saying, you don't get a penny of our money unless you free him. That's the way I'd deal with him.
You're also a doctor, but there's a Senate panel already recommending $33 million in cuts, which is far less than what you're suggesting. What do you think about your colleague's idea?
It's a token and symbolic and won't get anything. They listen to strength, and if you tell them no money, I think we'd get the doctor freed. About a month ago or 2 months ago, I threatened to remove all of the Egyptian aid because they were holding 16 American citizens, and lo and behold, Egypt let them go. So I think if you negotiate from a position of strength, I think this doctor could be freed. I've also offered legislation that would grant him citizenship in the United States. I think that's the very least we can do for him helping us get bin Laden.
Word from the White House is that the U.S., the administration's consulting with the Pakistanis. Why not allow that process to go forward? Perhaps they're successful.
Well, sometimes quiet diplomacy can work, but sometimes rattling the cages a little bit and letting them know we're serious can help too. I think in the Egyptian case, when I rattled the cage a little bit, it gave us more leverage. I think that we need more leverage with the Pakistanis, and if you release their aid, you lose your leverage with them. So I would not release any aid to Pakistan. I would make it all contingent on them freeing this doctor. They also really have some egregious human rights abuses going on. There's a young woman there being waited to be executed for allegedly saying something improper about the prophet. So it's not the kind of society that I think U.S. taxpayer dollars should be going to.
You mentioned Egypt. Let's get to that right now. You said this in a letter to President Obama recently. The system of foreign aid is broken. I urge you to reverse the decision to release aid to Egypt and to hold all aid until such time as the politically motivated prosecution of U.S. citizens has ended. The last part of that has to do with these Americans who are held captive, later released, but you say still they are pursuing prosecution of them, even though I do believe most, if not all, are back here in the U.S. But the first part about your statement is intriguing. The system of foreign aid is broken. What do you mean by that?
Well, when you think about it, look at Africa, for example. Mubarak in Egypt was given $60 billion, American dollars, U.S. tax dollars, at a time we're struggling to rebuild and replace our infrastructure. What did he do with the money? He stole it. Mobutu in Congo stole the money through the 70s and 80s. Mugabe in Rhodesia and Zimbabwe stole the money. The people don't get anything. The people have no running water and electricity, and yet some of these dictators have some of the most lavish mansions throughout the world.
Any success in the Senate, do you think? Or is it too high a hill to climb?
Well, we'll see. I think it's interesting with this because some of the senators come up to me quietly and thank me for rattling the cage on this and trying to get the Democrats too, but not many of them have the courage to vote for it. But interestingly, if you ask the American people, if you do a poll today, do you think we need to address concerns at home, or do you think we should continue sending foreign aid around the world? 75% of Americans will tell you they think we ought to end the foreign aid. Particularly sending foreign aid to our enemies is very insulting.
Rand Paul from Kentucky, thank you for your time in Bowling Green back home. Thanks, you, Senator.
Bill.
Martha.
Well, there's some extreme weather.